Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
They say everything happens for a reason, but I suspect everything happens for a Reese's. Like this commercial break. Did you need 15 seconds away from music? Or 15 seconds to eat a Reese's? Perhaps it's true. Everything happens for a Reese's.
Enjoy the good moments, man. We try to enjoy the fun times because, like every coach, man, we put a lot of time, a lot of hours into it. So, enjoy the good moments, man. But I've loved coaching my kids, man. It's been one of the joys of my life for sure. It's been a lot of fun.
Rain, lightning, nearly 4 hours of football under the lights at Duck Sanford Stadium. By the time the final horn had sounded, the bleachers were half empty, but the scoreboard read Hewitt Trustville 56, Auburn 42. They were a team left out of the Class 6A preseason top 10 after consistently being a top 5 team in the state and walked into one of the toughest environments in Alabama, put up 607 yards of offense. At the center of it all was a sophomore quarterback who went 22 of 26 for 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then added 193 yards rushing and 4 more scores. 532 total yards, 7 touchdowns. His name, Jack Floyd. His coach is his father, head coach Josh Floyd, and on a wet Friday night in Auburn, the Huskies sent a clear message: we're not going anywhere. That performance makes Josh Floyd our Hewitt Trustville National Coach of the Week, presented by Modern Football. Modern Football is the real-time analytics platform built for coaches who want live tendencies, faster self-scout, and actionable insights without the endless hours of work. Top programs across the country are already using it to make smarter and faster adjustments on game day. Want to see how it works? Visit modernfootball.com or click the link in the show notes to request a demo.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
So, Coach Floyd, it's great to have you back on the podcast. Before we had you on here, I had to go back and look, when was the first time you were on the podcast? And that was 2017, only about 3 months into this podcast. It's brand new at the time, so it's great to have you back here, and congratulations on a great week 1.
Thanks so much, Keith. I appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate all that you guys do for the game and for coaches. And like we were talking about, it's been a long time, man, so it's good to be back on here. And we had a fun Friday night, man. So the more I do this thing, the more I appreciate the good times and the good moments. So it was a fun night for us.
I know as a coach, you always love those little bits of things, especially heading into a season, those things that provide some fuel, right? Getting counted out, not getting maybe the mention that you guys are used to. Consistently a top 5 team in your state and, no mention in the top 10. So a little bit of, I guess, chip on the shoulder, something to prove as you went into Auburn. You guys play an incredibly difficult schedule every year, so it's not like this environment was anything out of the ordinary, but definitely something to prove there.
Yeah, I mean, our kids, they had a chip on their shoulder, and we're a young football team this year, and I think that's a big part of it, so they just felt a little bit disrespected. I mean, obviously, rankings are rankings. I mean, the goal is to be ranked at number 1 at the end. I mean, that's never going to be it's never going to change the goal, but I think it just, it was a little bit of motivation, and I didn't really even have to use it as the coach. I mean, our kids, they're proud of our program, and so they were, they took it personal. And so, but whatever, as a coach, I mean, if you can use it for motivation, then you use it. And I think a lot of people are counting them out. And again, at the end of the day, it's one game, so we got a long way to go, and we got a long way to get better. But it definitely was a statement, and a lot of that's just out of respect for Auburn. I mean, Auburn's just like us. I mean, they're a top 5 team every single year. Went to the state semis last year. I think they were 3rd in the state this year. I mean, us and them have consistently been the top 100, 200 teams in the country, and so they do a great job. And we just but we happen to play really well in some areas on Friday night, and so it's a great way to start the year.
Yeah. You mentioned to me before we got going, a lot of sophomores out there, and including your son, who's the quarterback. You said that, you didn't have to do anything. Your players picked up on it. But mindset isn't something that just happens. Mindset is something that is trained, that is coached. What are some of the things that you guys do, especially with a young team like this, to train that mindset, to have them ready for, Friday night going into Auburn to start the season?
I mean, it always starts with whatever your pillars of your we call them pillars in our program. I mean, that's always a big thing for us is that's something that we have 5 that we really believe in. And so, I mean, we really base everything off that. The last couple of years, we've looked at trying to change, because I don't ever want to be stagnant, should we change it? But I mean, the words just fit every year. So we really don't, we end up not doing all that. So we just don't change it. So, it starts with that, just trying to do on a weekly basis, trying to spend time with, different character development things. And, as far as, just something to prove. I mean, I think our guys just took all that personal. And I think our guys believe in what we do. And I think we have a great program from the ground up. And I think that's one thing that when I came here, that's on my 13th season now at Hewitt, felt like we had to do a better job to where we're on the same page as the middle school and even youth league football. I mean, the one thing I'll say, like you look at, we do have several sophomores. We had probably 5, 6 sophomores played a lot Friday night. 4 or 5 of them are starters. And yeah, they're sophomores, but they've literally been running this stuff. Some of their, from an offensive standpoint, like since they were like in the 3rd and 4th grade. I mean, they had a youth coach that I know real well, and he'd come meet with me in my office in the 4th grade. And so, I think from a schematic standpoint, those guys, their mindset's been there. But we play in a really tough region, man. I mean, I think it's one of the toughest ones in the entire country. I know it is. I mean, I don't think there's a tougher one anywhere because, I mean, it's us and Hoover and Thompson and Vestavia and Prattville. I mean, you just keep going down the list. I mean, there's just so many good teams. So, we had the mindset, whatever happens, it's a long season. I mean, we've talked about that this year. Last year we lost a game early. We were 6-0, ranked number 1 in the state, and then we lost a game, and I felt like we lost the next game because we had, we didn't get over the first loss very well. And so that's something we've talked about in the offseason. I mean, because the 2 teams that played in our state title game last year both had 3 losses. And so I hope we go 14-0. That's the point. But that doesn't happen a lot in our league either. So, we got to do a better job of just whatever happens, sticking together, moving on to next week. But again, I thought our guys played at a high level on Friday night, and it's hard to do week 1. So
yeah, well, you guys had that offense rolling over 600 yards. Young man in your house accounting for a lot of that. You mentioned to me too that you guys have always been a fast-paced offense, but you feel like this is the fastest pace you guys have ever been able to do it. What are some of the things that have helped, I guess, shave off that time in between snaps for you guys?
Well, I mean, we do a lot of one-word play calls, and we have really different categories that we use. Some of those are runs, some of those are RPOs, and then some of those are pass game. We're not a huge RPO team, but probably a little bit more now than we have been the next few years with a lot of QB RPO run game. I like that a lot. I mean, if you have a QB, that's a dual threat, which we do right now with Jack. He had a great ball game the other night, but we just believe in that pace helps you a lot in a lot of areas. And, it's hard. And it's not always just about going fast. I mean, sometimes it's changing the pace. I mean, we love doing our little sugar huddle where we get 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then we break out real fast, just those type of things. We just try to keep defenses off balance as much as we can. I'll say this, one of the things I was really proud on Friday night was it was a 14-point game. And again, it was a shootout, man, so both teams are scoring. I think it was 49-35 at this point. There's about 8 minutes left in the game. And we took a 14-play drive, ate up about 6 minutes of the clock. And we did a great job, our guys, because that's not normal for us. You know what I mean? So, some people call it a 4-minute offense, whatever you want to call it. We don't necessarily call it that, but just, our guys had to change that mindset a little bit. But sometimes we'll huddle more in those situations because I think when you break the huddle fast like we do, then that's still pace. It's different, but it's still pace. So I think believing in our fire calls is what we call them, fire calls, really. I mean, I think believing in them, like here's the way we do it. In spring ball, we just run our plays. We run our plays, and then we try to figure out who we are. So I think you have to adjust your personnel every year. As you well know, quarterback's a huge part. I mean, it all starts with the quarterback. So whatever he is, you have to tailor your system to that, in my opinion, anyway. And I think that's the key to the whole thing. And so we went through the entire spring ball and then sat down, then did some 7-on-7 this summer. And then we're like, okay, these are going to be our calls. Because they change from year to year, I think. Maybe the same plays, but it's a different formation. It's a different look, different presentation to a defense. So I think we really sold out to those. We've got about, I think, 50-something of them right now. And that's, and last Sunday when we were meeting as a staff, we didn't really do much more than that. We worked on those and said, this is the ones we like the most. We had a few things schemed up that we thought would, maybe get an explosive here or there. Like you do every week. You always try to, scheme up a few things there. But I think the fact that we just sold out to it and said, this is who we are, man. And we're not, because much we all love the X's and O's and game plan. We love all that stuff, and that never ends. But I think sometimes we get, coaches, we can definitely get too much going to where the kids don't have confidence. They're only going to play fast if they're confident. So
yeah, I love you mentioned, being a fast-paced team, you run it faster than ever, but then you have that drive, 14 plays, 6 minutes, and sugar huddle, I imagine, being a big part of it. I love that sugar huddle. We use it ourselves here, something we've incorporated. We're a young team. We don't have a lot of numbers. We need to chew the clock. But what I like about the sugar huddle is it gives you the effect of up tempo while at the same time being able to control that clock, because you control when you break it. But when you can snap the ball, and when I first studied this, I was watching, I think Gus Malzahn made this famous. There's been a lot of guys who have done this, but being able to snap that ball, even with motion at about 3.5 seconds after you break it, just does not give the defense a lot of time to communicate. And in some ways, you think about the teams that get up to the ball and run. You're still slowed down by the pace of the officials. So if you're lined up ready to go, I did a study once. It's between 11 and 12 seconds, depending on the crew and how fast they move. But 11 to 12 seconds on a regular no huddle play between when they spot it and when you can go, and then, or I should say, whistle to when it's spotted again. Now it's 3.5. You control that. I think still has huge effects as far as that feel of what it's doing to the defense.
Definitely. I think it's just, there's so many different ways to say, pace is a big word, but what does that mean? And so I think defenses are, they're so much better than they were 10, 15 years ago, I think, just as far as scheming things up. So I think, we always have to be changing that up as an offense. And again, I think that allows, like you said, it allows you to still be in a pace mindset, because that's what your kids are trained to do. So it's hard. It's hard to go slow when you're trained. We did it some Friday night, but when they just sit there and look at waiting for the signal, man, that's not normal for them. So, I can't really take credit or say we worked on it a lot last. We really didn't. But I think our guys did a good job of understanding the moment, so.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade, hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
You guys are an aggressive team, and you mentioned to me a team that does go on fourth down a lot, and that was a big factor in this game. I think that, along with the explosives, you guys were 11 of 11 on your third and fourth down go for it situations. Being able to convert like that obviously is huge, especially when you're in a game that does become a shootout, right? You need to stay on the field. What are some of the things, I guess, looking at that? How do you practice that? I think, going back to our original idea, this is a mindset too for players to understand, like, this is how we operate. So how does that, I guess, get ingrained? How do you practice it so that you do have results like this, 11-11 on a Friday night?
It's one of our goals every week, third down. We call it third down, play fourth. Some people say second down, play third. We'll say that. We'll do that as well, but we just try to work on third down a lot. It's a mindset with our team. We'll do it two different ways. We'll do it some where it's our best on best. It's ones versus ones. I don't know what the defense coordinator is going to call. He doesn't know what we're going to call on offense. It's just, hey, we're trying to get 3rd and 10. We usually go 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 3. And so the other way to do it, obviously, is, hey, we're scheming up the other team we're playing. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to get a true scout look of who you're going to play, then we'll do it that way as well. But that's just a mindset, I think, that the kids, I mean, they're going to think what's important is what you practice. I mean, it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter what you put as a goal. I don't think if you don't do it in practice, then they're not going to really think it's that important. So I will say one thing we changed last year. I really liked this a lot, and this is broader than just third downs, but we changed to having team goals only. We don't have any offensive and defensive goals. And that's been different because again, we still kind of do a little bit as coaches. You kind of have, hey, you want to get this many yards, or we don't got to give up more than set, whatever the number is. But we just looked at what I did, what we looked back over about 5 or 6 years of numbers and analytics, not what NFL says, not what college, but what the Hewitt Trustful Huskies for about 5 or 6 years there. What were the numbers when we won and lost games? Like, for example, I'll say like one has turned in its total yards, because there's been games where, typically I think in football, if you run for more yards than their team, if you have more yards rushing, you win a lot of the times, you can go down analytics and all that with with college and all that. That's a normal thing. But we had situations where we just, again, looking at our wins and losses over the years, we're like, we might run for 100 yards more, but somebody else, they beat us because they threw for someone. So just simple things like that, like turnovers. Like turnovers is a good example Friday. So as good as we did offensively Friday, we honestly should have scored 70. Like we had two turnovers in the red zone. Okay. And then we had another turnover fumble, like the third or fourth possession in the game. So we have 3 turnovers. Well, we caused 4 turnovers. Okay. And so we won that goal. And so, yesterday I'm meeting with the team and I'm like, it's the only thing with this goal is kind of weird. Like we won the turnover goal, but it's not okay to have 3 turnovers either. So, but again, at the end of the day, the point is to win the game on Friday night. So if we won that game, so explosives is one of our goals, total yards. The first drive of the second half is a goal that's huge. When you look at our correlation last year, like every game, if we won the first drive, second half, we won the game. And so we like a goal like that, for example. Obviously, if it's a close game, it matters. But even if let's say you're up 35-0 or something, you hate going out there on the field and starting out terrible, and then it ends up being sloppy, and and everybody's mad at the end of the game because it's it wasn't a good look in the second half. So there's a lot of different things there. But anyway, I'm sorry, I kind of went off your question there, but the main thing is just practicing those things and showing those importance. I think that made it work Friday night.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought those up, those team goals. I think that is an important thing, and it avoids those situations where unintentionally you cause some division in the team, right? You want guys to take pride in their performance and everything, but then when that becomes the focus, it's like, well, is said or not, there could be that attitude of, well, we did our job, right? And I learned this when I went to Baldwin Wallace. Our head coach, John Snell, had only team goals like that. And I thought that was a really good idea. And I think, yes, you still have them as coaches. You could still look at those things. You could even talk to your players about the ones that matter. But to the team, I think that's so important. The other thing you brought up that I wanted to get into, because this is something I've heard, I think it's trending a lot more. The good on good, the best on best types of practice periods. I've seen guys at every level really go into this a little bit more. I know this is something this particular weekend we discussed. There is a clear drop off between our varsity guys and our scout team, and we're all young to start with, right? So it doesn't help them on a Friday night. I've seen more and more teams go to those good on good periods just to train the speed of the game, just to get that competitiveness. How long you guys been doing that, and what do you feel makes that work for you? I guess how long a practice, how much over the course of the week, et cetera?
Sure. We end up going really probably 3 or 4 years ago is probably when we started doing a little bit more of it. And, our defense, I think they'd probably do it every single day. Like they'd be fine doing every period. I think I think it's so important to them to see the speed. Obviously the scheme matters, but I think the speed's the biggest thing that they get to see. And our kids, they love it. I remember my oldest son played quarterback here. He graduated, his last season was 2023, and he absolutely loved 2-minute drill. Like that was, he looked forward to it all week, because we'd go best on best. And then my middle son, he played linebacker the last 3 years. Had a great career here as well. And, same thing. He was talking junk all last year because defense won 2-minute drill about every dadgum week. You know what I mean? So I think it's a lot of healthy competition. They know it's coming. Like for example, last week when we first met, our first game week, I went over, hey, this is what we're doing and they know it pretty much by now, but I just, hey, this is the focus Monday, this is the focus Tuesday, this is focus Wednesday, so like Monday, Monday practice, we're going to do P and 10. We're going to do a perimeter drill. And then we're going to do a BPU, best on best. Like we're going to do that every single week. And so, PN10s is something that we talk about. And so that's a team goal. On a Tuesday, we start every Tuesday with what we call it play fast. And it is completely unscripted, best on best. Offensively, we'll probably throw a few things in there that we're working on that week. And just, you have to be okay. And I always tell the quarterbacks, I still coach quarterbacks, and I just have to tell them, look, if it doesn't work, don't freak out like it's not going to work on Friday, because we're not really scheming our defense up right here. But I want to get a live rep, if it's a special play, strict play or something like that. So we'll do what we call play fast, and it goes 8 plays, 12 plays, 14, whatever it is, and so we start practice that way on Tuesday. So the guys like that. And then a Wednesday is always 2-minute and red zone. Red zone's gone back and forth, honestly. That was a big discussion this past year, because again, from a defensive standpoint, I think they'd rather just every time go all, full speed offense versus defense or whatever. But offensively, we definitely need to see some different things, schematically in the red zone. So that kind of goes back and forth between best on best and the other. But so really, we're talking 2 or 3 periods a day, best on best. So that, that's 10, 15 minutes, just depending on the week. I think it just brings out the best in our kids, really, because they talk junk about it and have fun with it, and all those kind of things. And so, it does go that way sometimes, where the defense has your number, the offense has your number, and so it's, but I think it makes it important for Friday nights when you can throw in third downs, those type of things.
Yeah, like I said, I see this being done at the college level, but I think with young kids too, like there's just a ton of value in like competing, like. Our scout cards and all those periods are important, but what do they want to do? I mean, they love playing like more than anything, right? So I think it's a tremendous tool.
Well, and again, I think as coaches, we can definitely overcomplicate things too much at times. And in reality, how many different pass concepts can you draw up? How many different ways can someone really line up on defense? You know what I mean? So I think sometimes we can overcomplicate it, and I think this helps simplify it a little bit more. Because defensively speaking, if you can get your defense to play, at a fast speed and everyone's flying the ball, that's always the number one thing, right? That's more so than scheme, or more so than being ready. Because if you take care of that, a lot of things take care of themselves.
Now, imagine, are you guys staying up off the ground on that? How do you approach the tackling portion of this?
It's normally just a thud period for us, which basically just means we're wrapping up. We're trying to stay high. We don't really go low on that. We really don't go tackle periods full speed to the ground very much at all. We really don't. That might be something we do, and maybe a little bit in preseason. We will do a little bit more in spring football. But defensively, last 2 years in 7A, we were number 1 and number 2 in defense in the state. And so and that was without going tackle on the ground. So I think the mindset fix that anyway. So
we were talking to our sponsor for the National Coach of the Week is Modern Football. You guys are first-year users of Modern Football, and as you pointed out, with 3 lightning delays, you have plenty of time to look at it. So tell us a little bit about your experience with Modern Football so far here in this first game of the season.
It was great. It's really our first time to use it. We almost ended up using it last year, but it didn't work out. So we went there, really just all got it done and rolling really here in the last few weeks. So we kind of waited till the last second, but even that tells you how good it is. Because it's not like it was something we were doing. We literally did it in August. And so our coaches, we got a couple of great coaches that got it figured out. We have a guy in the box that's on the headset hearing all the plays. And so I just, we're looking for any advantage like anybody is. And, the main thing, again, and there's things you can do throughout the season. So again, we've done it 1 week, so we're going to keep learning throughout the year. My main purpose as head, I wanted to know exactly at halftime where we were at on specific things and where you could actually see it and it makes sense. And we've always had somebody charting plays for us. But it's different when it's charted on a sheet of paper, and it's all these things you're having to look through. And whereas we literally could pull it up in one click. I have, Coach Stowe is our guy up in the box. He's one of our freshman coaches. He assists with our offensive line as well in varsity. And he's sitting there at halftime or one of our 3 lightning delays. We're in there. So we worked awesome this week because of that. I mean, he can literally pull it up right there on counter. Boom, we're averaging 3.7 yards a carry, right there, and so I think that's a huge advantage because so many times we think something's not hitting or us, we think it's better. Either way. So I'm big on stats and numbers because and not more so than how we feel about it. You know what I mean? I just want to see it. I want to see proof. And so maybe that helps us, win a game this year because we know a little bit more of what we're getting into. So again, we're still beginning in the users, but it was definitely something that I thought brought a lot of value this Friday night.
Yeah, the information we chart is obviously important, but the challenge has always been, I mean, I thought about this college level. I have 2 guys charting. One's charting what we're doing, result, all those kinds of things. The other guy's getting down some things on the defense, and I have one guy on the iPad this week doing it all, tapping through. I showed him really the 3 key things we were looking for on defense, and it's helpful. It takes what someone would have to, like you said, I mean, halftime is when really we could spend some time putting those charts together. But now when the digital chart does the work for you, that's where you start to, your gut sometimes lies to you, right? You have that big explosive play in the first quarter and you think it's a good play the whole game and you keep going back to it and maybe it doesn't hit again. And then there's another one maybe you thought was a dog because it didn't hit early, but it was your most consistent play. So it definitely surfaces those insights for you as well as looking at maybe some of the tendencies you could pick up from the opponent too.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think another thing is just pretty easy I think it was pretty user friendly. And we liked how we could tailor all that stuff to our, to our system. And I think it make it easy. And again, we mentioned our one-word play calls. Well, all we had to do was punch in that one-word play call, and it calculates every single thing else on there: formation, motion, pre-snap, shift, movement, all that. And so it automatically plugs it in there. And so again, we can, because you don't get that as much when you're just charting. Like it might just be, hey, this is a play, but like when I can see it, all right, when we did, it worked, but when we did this, and this pre-snap, it was even better, and
right.
So that's great information to have when you're trying to make an adjustment at halftime.
Yeah, well, Coach, it's been great to catch up with you here. Excited to see what you're doing, and man, I'm trying to even think. Like, so your son 10 years ago was what 4, 5 when we first met?
Probably something like that. Yeah. When we moved to Alabama, Jack was 3 years old. So this is definitely his home, man. It's all he's ever known, man. So it's been pretty fun. He kind of got thrown in the fire last year as a freshman. Had to start 5 games because our starter got hurt, and so. First game this week wasn't the first game he never played, but first time really to be kind of his, as a full-time starter heading into the season. So it was fun, man. But, like I said, we had to get 1 game, but hey, like I said, enjoy the good moments, man. We try to enjoy the fun times because like every coach, man, we put a lot of time, a lot of hours into it. So, enjoy the good moments, man. But I've loved coaching my kids, man. It's been one of the joys of my life for sure. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Coach, congratulations to you and the Huskies. Congratulations on being our National Coach of the Week. We know that obviously that's an honor for the program too. All your coaches, all your players obviously contributing to that. And best of luck to you and your son and the Huskies here the rest of the way.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me. And like you said, man, it's huge credit to our entire team, our kids, but also our staff, man. I love those guys, and they pour into these kids on and off the field, and so I really want to recognize them. They do a heck of a job here, and they made the game plan and did a heck of a job.
Josh Floyd and the Hewitt Trustville Huskies reminded everyone what this program is made of. Toughness, explosive offense, and the ability to rise when people count them out. A 56-42 statement win on the road against a ranked Auburn team, a sophomore quarterback putting up historic numbers, and a coach who's built a consistent excellence for over a decade. Congratulations to Josh Floyd, our National Coach of the Week. This recognition is presented by Modern Football, the real-time analytics platform that gives coaches live tendencies, faster self-scout, and the ability to make better decisions at the speed of the game. If you're ready to cut hours of work and gain a real edge on Friday nights, head to modernfootball.com and request your demo today.